Hello, teamfortress.tv. This is Avast on the camera, and we're here for another exciting match here in ESEA-Invite Season 21. And I've introduced myself, obviously. I'm Avast, and with me is the lovely, the beautiful BloodSire.
Hello! That was the quickest 30 seconds I've ever seen in my life. But yes, hello everyone. Thank you for Avast for taking us in. Of course, I'm BloodSire. Joining us with the camera work tonight will be Marblr, and we only have one match for you tonight. But it should be a good one. It's between Ascent versus the Grime, and we're already in week 6 of Avast. It seems like just yesterday we've seen these teams lace up the old sneakers and play their first invite match, but already we're in week 6 and we've seen some teams fall, some teams rise, some teams completely break apart. But out of the ashes, we have the pleasure of seeing one of those teams tonight reform under the Grime. And unfortunately, if you guys were with us last week, Avast, I know you were here, we didn't get to see the Grime versus the Froyotech match, and that was a hot topic match we wanted to see. Fortunate tonight, we get to see them face off against the Froyotech rivals, Ascent. So they didn't do so well versus Froyotech last week. We'll be able to see if they can muster something here against Ascent.
Yeah, and I think this could be a map where they could have a little bit of a better time doing it, perhaps, because Badlands is a map that really is very, very coordination heavy, and I think Froyotech had that advantage with pretty much Grime being a new team essentially coming into that match. So Granary, I think, could give them maybe a little bit even footing, but as we know, Ascent is definitely not a bad team in any way.
Yeah, and it is something to think about that Ascent are 8-1 in the season. Of course, the Grime are 2-7, but that's sort of negligible given that they're a new team. But the one loss sitting on the Ascent side came at the hands of Froyotech, came at the hands of a Corsa-infused Froyotech. And of course, we do know Corsa is on the Grime tonight. So whether or not he has the skills and the talent to carry his team and sort of relight that fire that helped one team beat Ascent, whether he can do that with the Grime or not, we'll have to see. But it will be interesting because he is a strong player. And I don't know, however, if his sniping antics, which sort of played into that, will come into play here on the Granary, which is such a close quarter and soldier-centric map.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the Grime soldiers are really gonna have to step up their game for this particular matchup, because Rando and Mela are what many could argue the best, probably maybe the best in a soldier duo next to the Froyo with Banny and Patty. So they're very, very strong. Some monstrous DM among them, and I think we're gonna have to see the Grime soldiers really take it up a notch to really compete against those two.
Yeah, and speaking of which, we might as well mention who they are. I'm just going to run down the complete Grime roster. Over on, we did mention the soldiers, that you have Farns and Dagger filling in as soldier for them. Corsa and High Five, of course, will be the scouts. Dingo is the demo man. Kig is the medic. And so, these players, sort of a combination of a bunch of teams. We have the former Titanium White members, some hands-off members, and of course Corsa, like we mentioned, joining the party too. So a motley crew here trying to get it done, and the teamwork might not necessarily be there for them yet, but they are a band of highly skilled players. So it's going to be interesting seeing how they fare, because this is sort of a trial by fire for them. Their first time they get together, they play Froyotech, boom, now they have Ascent. So they're really being tested. So it'll be fun to see if they can bring it here and sort of make a statement for themselves. Like we did mention, it is week 6, so the better of the season's behind us. But they still have time to show that they are going to be a high caliber team, and they can take it into the future invite seasons with that skill and that confidence. But it has to start here, Avast.
Yeah, I agree. And looking at their opponents, the Ascent roster, we're gonna be what we were saying earlier, just two very, very strong soldiers on Ascent with Rando and Mela. There's also two very, very strong scouts with Shrugger being a long-time player, been around a while, pretty beast. Yomps, who recently is an up-and-comer in a way, but is an extremely good scout for for really the time that he's been an invite compared to a lot of the Ascent roster. Badonsky, Demo, and 4-4 Medic, both incredibly good players in their own right. 4-4 has some of the best surfing I've seen out of any invite medic in a long time. And Badonsky is just an overall beast. He's really, really scary, in my opinion. He just is he's still a crazy aggressive demo and just hits a lot of sticks. So I think it's going to be a really good matchup here, BloodSire.
I think absolutely. And, you know, we try to talk about how the Grime might have a chance with this new roster coming in, but you look at Ascent, last season's Invite champions, 8-1 on this season. Really, they lost on Viaduct, which is a strength for the Froyotech scouts. So maybe you chalk that up. It was early on in the season. You just wiped that one away. Ascent is such a strong team, and with the rest of Invite sort of shaken up, reforming, seeing new blood combined with some old blood, making these new teams, Ascent is the team from the past that's back in this season, back doing what we've expected them to do. And Avast, I mean, there's some. We had one of our members on the teamfortress.tv forums, you know, talk a little bit about the Ascent members. So there's some interesting stats around those guys if you want to get into that.
Yeah, it was actually by Space Cadet, who he runs with some other people. He runs pretty much just a giant database of all invite players that have ever played TF2. He actually has it linked on the forums in the Ascent versus Grime match thread on teamfortress.tv. And some interesting stats here. This will be the 175th invite match for Shrugger, which puts him at like the 12th all-time of long-standing invite players, really. Badonsky will be looking for his 90th career win, which is a lot. You know, these are players that have been around so long, BloodSire, that it's hard to even, like, they've been playing at the top level for such a long time. In addition to that, Ascent as a team has a pretty crazy granary record. Compared to a lot of the other invite teams, with Badonsky being 11-3 overall, Rando 10-3, Mela 10-5, and Shrugger 13-8.
And that's all win to loss?
Yeah, that's a win to loss. But like, it's overall as an Ascent team, that's a pretty crazy granary schedule. And it's pretty insane with both Mela and Badonsky 16th and 17th respectively, with like the all-time invite win list. So these are veteran players, and I think that what you were saying earlier is really on point, in that Ascent is the team to measure up against this season. They are sort of the standard of the #1 top NA team that people can really measure themselves up against.
Yeah, and I mean, they've earned it. They are the returning invite champions, and they're going to put on a show and possibly a clinic, and possibly a nightmare for the Grime going into this match here, who we also have listed, thanks to Space Cadet, has a 1-15 combined record for granary. So the players on the Grime, you know, granary, not their strongest suit, but you never know, right? Individually, it could all fall apart, but when you bring it all together, it could work, it can click, it can fire on all cylinders. We don't know, but that's why we play the match. That's why we watch the match. We will have that coming to you guys shortly. And I mean, I'm excited. We like I said before, we didn't get to see, at least I didn't get to see the Grime play last week due to some ESEA technical difficulties with the server and the STV and whatnot. But we are back up now, and this week we'll get to see him here, and it should be a good test for the Grime.
Yeah, I agree. I think Froyo was their first test, but in a way, I'm willing to be lenient, because it was their first time, really first couple times playing as a team together, and on a map like Badlands where it's so coordination heavy, there's just like the fights and the way that the flanks and the pushes in particular work out on Badlands. I was really punishing towards a newer team like that compared to Froyo. So I think, in my personal opinion, this is going to be a more accurate litmus test of how to judge them in the rest of the season and possibly in the future. So I think we would have to see. It's going to be interesting for sure.
Now, I'm looking at the roster, and I'm trying to pick out like who I can see the Ascent roster, and I'm thinking, wow, they're all stars in their own right on that team, and when they're together, it's even more of a beast that any team has to slay. But looking at the Grime, who would you say is the star player, or what player is really going to have to pick it up for the Grime to maybe squeak out a win here?
You know, like I said earlier, Granary is one of those maps where soldiers make a huge difference. because of the layout of particularly this mid and things like that, where soldiers have such strong bombing potential and ability to flank and just hit crazy DM fight shots. So I'd really like to see Farns and Dagger pick up their game here to compete against Rando and Mela, because I feel like in the past, Dagger in a way has imitated a lot of a tag-esque roamer, where he makes a lot of space and tries to bomb aggressively, try to open up something for his team, and he doesn't really try to play 2 DM flank heavy, but more of a bomb heavy type of style. And I would like to see him maybe, if possible, try to translate something to where he can be alive more for his team on this map. Or something where he can just be a much bigger presence instead of just a bomber, which is really good. But I feel like you need that soldier alive to really combat the strength of the Ascent team. And Dingo as well. I think Dingo's a very, very, very is one of the more talented players, especially demos currently active in NA. Definitely a top 4 for sure. 100% a top 4 demo in my opinion. And just very talented overall. So I would like to see what he does as well when facing off against Badonsky. And I mean, pretty much all of them are great players, BloodSire, but I'm putting the players that really need to step up as the soldiers, Farns and Dagger, and Dingo.
Right. I mean, we'll have to see at middle, because Granary, like you keep mentioning, is a power class centric map. It all starts on the middle, where you have your splash damage coming in from your soldiers, the bombs turning all those eyes, the demo putting all the stickies across middle. It can be very hectic for medics, and of course we're used to not seeing medics survive the middle, so it'll be interesting to see if Kig can do that, because recognizing when to stay and when to leave can be the difference between a mid loss and then a round loss, or a mid loss and then a potential hold. Because we've seen on Granary, teams can go from mid to last in an instant. It can happen very, very quickly, and the train can be firing on all cylinders and make it to your last very, very quickly. And if you wipe on middle, it can be very hard to defend your last here, especially on this new Granary. This is Granary Pro, so you do notice the point is in the center of last, which changes the dynamics quite a bit here. So that's always something to keep in mind. But yeah, it's all going to come down to, like you say, the power classes, the soldiers and the demo, and whether or not that medic can escape. And, I'm looking at Corsa and High Five, and we talked a little bit about how Corsa joining the team and how this new team is forming with better players. Corsa and High Five, they don't have much room to really go out and get things done on their own here on a map like Granary. And we've seen and heard scouts complain about Granary in the past just because of the height differential and the small corridors that inhibit scout movement and force them to take a whole lot of splash. So even though Corsa was one of the defining factors that did hand Ascent their only loss of the season when Corsa was on Froyotech, I don't know if he's really going to have the opportunity here to shine in that way, being, as you keep mentioning, Granary is such a power class centric map.
I agree with you, but the one place, really, I mean, there's really 2 places, but specifically one place where scouts can make all the difference are the mids on this map. I mean, just looking at the differences in the scouts, Shrugger and Corsa, honestly, when we look at a head-to-head comparison, are roughly equal. Shrugger having slightly more kills, a decent amount less deaths, but you don't really see anything too different aside from like Corsa's med picks, which he did get a lot of because he did play a lot of sniper, and so he got a lot of med picks. But I think honestly what I was also, people are asking about Dingo's stats. Dingo has a little bit skewed stats, BloodSire, on the stats page when we do the head-to-head type of thing, because he actually originally played medic for hands off. So obviously his stats are not going to be representative of him as a demo man.
It's probably not going to have too many frags.
Yeah, just a heads up for the viewers. His stats are actually a total of the entire season back when he was playing a non-fragging class. So when you look at him compared to Badonsky, it's going to look a little bit underwhelming. You do a tiny bit more damage on Demo Man that you would have done on Medic. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit more on the Demo Man. Because there's just a little bit more of an opportunity to get some splash damage in. But we do have almost 12 in the server. We have 11. So
One thing that I've been regretting that I haven't been asking you, Avast, in past casts is your prediction on this match. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a close one. I can't really say it's going to be because Ascent is so strong. But I would like to hear what the numbers are in your mind.
I would like for it to be a close one. I will tell you what I would like. Now, what reality would entail, that's honestly a tough call because I really don't know. I haven't kept super close tabs on how the Grime has been improving since we've last seen them. I know they've definitely been working to improve. And I think Granary could possibly give them maybe a better chance, though it's a tough map because, like I said, the strength of the soldiers on Ascent is, in my opinion, I think it's sort of skewed, and this is a very soldier-heavy map. But I think I would say that I'm gonna predict for Ascent to win this, at the very least a 5-3, in my opinion, BloodSire.
All right, I was going to say 5-3. I think due to the volatile nature of Granary Middle, how it can really swing one way or the other depending on who wins the early spam battle, who wins that bomber battle, Ascent can get caught off guard. You know, sometimes it's just an RNG-based thing where it comes down to who takes the most splash when. So in those scenarios, we could see the Grime squeak out a few round wins, but I do think Ascent do have the experience. They have the stronger team synergy. They have the stronger individual play to win those duels when they need to. So I'm going to say Ascent 2 by a score of 5-2. Since you said 3, I'll go ahead and say 5-2. Hopefully, for our sake and for our viewers' sake, it's a little bit closer. I have a little bit more of an exciting match, but you know, even 5-2 or 5-3 doesn't mean it won't be exciting. We'll have to see what these players can bring here. I'm very excited to see this new Grime team in action because, like you said, you know, last week it was very sudden. They just got together. They were sort of thrown into a trial by fire versus Froyotech. Now they've had a week to sort of settle down, get to know each other, shake each other's hands, introduce themselves, tell each other how they like to play TF2. So once again, versus the other and the dominant top team in Invite right now, they will get to show us what they have worked on, what they've improved. And as we see the white text on the screen indicate that the teams are setting up their classes, we will see which team is on red and which on blue. Looks like it will be the Grime on the blue team of Avast. And we are underway right about now.
Yes, here we go. And I think for this first mid, I really want to pay attention to Badonsky's rollout because how fast they get to this mid and where they sticky can really set the pace. It looks like he's going to be running booties, a very, in my opinion, controversial but strong weapon for Demo this season. And he's been rolling out the lower left, and Dingo on the catwalk. Dingo hitting some early stickies, and it looks like both teams just taking their respective sides.
Yeah, or we see blue team right now, the Grimes, favoring their blue crates on the left side, and comes a bomb from Farnsworth, but he's going to get meat shot into the air. Will he ever land? I don't know. Randall's going to get the shotgun and join the party, take him down, and now the Grimes stuck on the point and see Mela above them, or do they? They don't. Badonsky hits a sticky onto Dagger. Yamps joins the party. Mela finally collecting, but the blue Uber comes out from Kig, and he's going to connect with his demo man. Meanwhile, 4-4 without his Uber. He's trying to escape here as there is a medic hot on his tail. But yeah, this medic is going to go down, and a little bit of a wonky middle there, but it is going to go cleanly in Ascent's favor.
Yeah, that was definitely a middle. It started out pretty decent, but then they started losing. They lost Dagger pretty early. They lost that control of their garage, and then they lost the fight on point, and instead of trying to leave, they just committed, and Kig managed to get the saw for the Uber, which is pretty impressive, and save Dingo. But I mean, Ascent was smart, and all they did was just flood people behind them, and knowing that the med couldn't get away, and then he was picked off. So now we're going to be seeing a last hold here for the Grime. Corsa is on Sniper, a pretty large Uber advantage, like 70% or so for Ascent, and they're going to be coming from this lower left area here, coming straight to point.
Yeah, they predicted that, of course, it would be sniping, so they popped it right in, but now they got to get the frags because one of the things about popping so early is you might not get those frags, but not going to be a problem as Yamps and Rando collect one. Shrugger joins the party, takes down another. There goes Yamps again, and only Farnsworth alive. Check that, he is going to die. That will be the first round for Ascent. Very clean, very quick, and we saw right there what we were talking about in the pregame of Avast, that if you lose middle, it is hard and a tall order to defend last. So right there, the Grime going down one very quickly.
Yeah, and I'd like to see a stronger mid fight for sure, or at the very least even if they lose the mid again, I want the Grime to recognize when they've lost. And actually,
Oh
Badonsky
my.
beats Dingo by so much and just destroys him. Oh, that's such... Okay, Grime is just leaving that mid. Oh my goodness,
This is the right call,
such
though.
a good play.
This
Yeah,
is the right call.
A good call.
Badonsky, insane there, beating Dingo by a whole lot. I was watching through Dingo's point of view, so I was just as surprised as he was. He got Sticky down to 6 HP, and of course the gravity killed him in the end when he landed and touched his little toes, poor little toes, to the ground. So he visits the respawn room. In the meantime, we just see the Grime back it up, which is the right decision because they cannot win that middle without their demo man. But now we do have Ascent moving in to the Grime second. Mela in trouble here in Lunchbox Stairwell is going to find himself a scout. Is the scout going to kill him? No, but the soldier joins the party and takes him down. Now we have the Grime on the right side. Ubers are just about even. Yeah, and they're going to be popped off in parity here. And no frags as of yet. Of course, the Grime are sitting with a man advantage, so they should be able to win out this yard hold here. Are they going to do it? They have a scout in the backfield. Scout's still going strong. This is Shrugger dancing around. Can anyone kill Shrugger? There's 3 of them. Is anyone going to do it? High Five is going to finally do it. Dingo did go down, but there are Avast 3 down for red. This should be a Grime retake.
Yep, that was actually a very good team fight from the Grime, recognizing that they were close after getting that pick. Got a good Uber, forced him to fight. It was unfortunate that Dingo got left alone and died, but Kig did get a saw out of it. So now they have a decent Uber advantage, and I want them to use it. They're so close. Kig's going to pop up here. Farnsworth is hurt. They're chasing right yard. Badonsky's hurt. Oh, they're going to get out, but they will get Yumps. Mela's stuck in left yard. If they clean up Mela, this is definitely time for a push, in my opinion. I would like them to push left. They do pick up Mela. Okay, so I want them to fight right here, BloodSire. They're about to get Uber, though.
They have to do it, yeah, but we do see the Ascent Uber is going to be out, so if the Grime are smart, they're going to pop that Uber and run and just reset the values here, but, oh no, too many of the Grime members go down. Ascent just chomp them down, and Ascent will have the room now to push out into their yard and investigate middle. Look to see what the positioning for the Grime is, and it is not good on middle. So Ascent led by Rando, and now Badonsky are going to jump up to the crates, retake this, Sticky out the respawning Grime members, and it looks like we will see in the end the Grime trying to defend yard with about a 30% Uber advantage. So the onus will be on them, Avast, to try to push back into middle.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, they had that Uber advantage, and I feel like it could have been so much better for them if they had any sort of foresight into what was going to happen. But, oh, Farnsworth's going to go down to a trap from Badonsky, and I don't think they're going to push anymore. So they're just going to be holding their second. Shrugger's peeking on this left side, but he's not going to commit probably. Dingo has some traps over garage, some pretty standard traps. But
I like the pace from Grime there. They recognize that they did have Uber, and a lot of times when we see teams without a huge 40% advantage or something sub 40, they're a little bit hesitant to go, especially on a map like Granary where the chokes are so difficult to push through. But we did see the Grime. They felt and they knew that they had the advantage, so they wanted to get right into Ascent, not batting an eye, not being shy of taking on the stronger team. Unfortunately, they did lose Farnsworth there, which completely halted their push. So that is going to put the Uber in Ascent's hands. Of course, Kig did not pop, so he has his as well. So we are at 100 versus 100. Now we are facing off in the yard, and it's a spam battle as teams jab and poke and see who gets the better of who. Looks like in that one, the Grime doing a whole lot of damage to Shrugger, who's going to get healed up and reevaluate the situation.
Yeah, but I mean, right before, actually, during that, Dingo nearly died to some very coordinated spam, and they were very lucky Dingo did not, because he's playing a sort of a passive sticky style demo with these booties. And actually, Mela's going to be jumping through very fast on the right, but he's going to get cleaned up by Dagger. And I would like to see a counter push or sack from Grime here, because that's what Ascent's going to want them to do. But if Grime does it well enough, they're not going to like them doing it. And they're coming choke, which is actually a smart move, because they have no hold there, but they need to make sure they're not overwhelming the garage. Dagger just went down to Rando, though, BloodSire.
Yeah, both soldiers, first Mela and then Dagger, tried to have some cheeky skip jumps out of that ramp room area to try to get in on the other team. Didn't work for Mela, didn't work for Dingo. Rando, though, he's going to have a rocket, which works just fine against Corsa. Dingo, though, takes him down, so revenge kill for them. 2 down, though, for Grime, with 1 second spawning on Dagger. Looks like Ascent are going to bully out the Grime hero, getting caught. They're on the right side. Are they going to have to... Oh, my goodness. Farnsworth goes down. This is a 3-on-4, 3-on-6 now push for the Grime in yard. They just need to back it out of Avast, get back into second, and reset.
Yeah, Shrugger is very hurt, but he manages to get out, which is... Oh, that's so unfortunate. If they might get Mela, though. The rest of Ascent... Oh, what? Of course, it doesn't manage to get Mela, and it's going to get cleaned up. High Five is down too. There's no scouts here. I'm expecting this Ascent push. Yeah, they're pushing right now. And Grime's going to be on last. It's going to be roughly equal Ubers, but I would expect Ascent to try to bomb at least one soldier without scouts.
Exactly. Ascent, knowing they're the better team, want to come in while the Grime are down 2 players. Here they come. Melee trying to get something going. The rest of his team supporting him on the left side. Time on the point ×2. A whisker away from being capped here. Frags finally are going to start to fall, but Ascent getting the better of it so far. Clumped up on the point are the Grime. They need to get more frags, but winning the team battle are Ascent. Melee's going to get a rebound in a second. Coming in from top pipe, puts in some rockets. Badonsky takes down the kick. Farnsworth now. It's still time on the point. Red Uber goes off. Only Dagger left alive. And he is fighting for his life. How come there's nobody on the red team trying to cap? I guess they just want to get the kill.
I think they wanted the frags. I mean, also, Dingo did, right before he died, he had a smart move where he put like 3 stickies on the point and blasted the Uber soldier up into the skybox just to delay the cap some more. But, I mean, that was, you know, too little too late. Those scouts dying was unfortunate. They just weren't able to clean up those frags. And we're getting to another middle here. Dingo rolling out left side again. Badonsky beating him by a little bit. But they're just going to be trading stickies. They're both at equal health. And I'd like to see something, I'd like to see maybe a slightly more passive mid from Grime. But instead, they're taking right side, garage side, very aggressively.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Frags now are falling. Scouts join the party. Oh, but it's Ascent all the way as 3 of the Grime go down, and a nice air shot onto Dagger from Mela is going to send him running to his ramp room looking for some help. In comes Farnsworth and High Five. They do not want to give this up as of yet. We have High Five on the medic. Sees the demo man. Is he going to get the medic? Yes, he does. Takes him down 4-4. Visits the respawn room. That is a big pick there for the Grime scout, because that is going to put the Uber advantage in favor of the Grime. They will be able to sort of stave off any sort of a push Ascent do manage to muster once they do cap this middle. But Avast, Ascent yet again win another middle.
Yep, and you know, once again, this is relating back to my point about the Grime soldiers. Farnsworth was bombing with High Five in that area, and he just sort of turned around and, oh man, he just walked out through a pair of stickies too. Badonsky's not dead these. Okay, he has that now. They're trying to bully them out from this side. They do have better heals than Ascent. Ascent's kind of far back. They're walking out through catwalk. Ascent's in garage, and they should be able to bully this for free. But Badonsky's just sitting in garage acting super aggressively, but he gets bullied out now. And there still is a pretty significant Uber advantage for Grime, and I want to see them use this here, BloodSire.
I think Ascent might have been a little bit too timid in giving up middle there. Only 1 soldier came in. Could have been an easy pick. Instead, we are going to see Grime are going to retake. Looks like Ascent are going to try to leapfrog this Uber. The blue Uber does go off on the right side. No member of the Ascent team went down, so that is very good, as we do have a full Uber advantage for Ascent, who are looking to come out on the left side. They get 2. Of course, it did take down Badonsky, so no demo man in this team fight, but they are going to bully out the Grime from this yard area. Now, the Grime back on their heels, trying to get... Oh no, they are going to lose Dingo, or are they? Dingo escaped with 7 HP into ramp room, and really, that is... I spoke too soon, as Mela, hot on his tail, shot a rocket in his face, and down goes the blue demo man. So, without their demo man to defend second, looks like Grime are going to have to defend way back in second.
Yeah, and they're at an Uber to sad. And these Ubers from the Grime are just subpar, BloodSire.
Yeah.
They're rushed. I feel like it would be alright if they just use them to gain this ground, but then they're losing so many players to the repush from Ascent, and they need to be aware of where they're going to repush. And actually, Yomps is just in! Okay, wow, he gets cleaned up. So that was an adventurous play from Yomps.
Well, Yomps chomps. He likes to come in and just feed on people, but didn't work out for him there. And I do agree with you. I was going to say there weren't really many mistakes that I've seen the Grime make other than them just being bullied, but I do think their Uber management has been subpar as of late. Looks like they're going to need to try to get another Uber here, because we do have a red Uber on their last, and Shrugger already taking down the blue demo man. He takes down another in Farnsworth, and now the blue Uber comes out, but it needs to get frags, and it needs to get frags quickly. Randall shoots a soldier into the sky. Randall surviving behind the fight, and there is a scout on the point. Somebody get there, and oh no, the Vice is closing for Ascent. Both scouts versus Mela, not going to happen, as the red demo man Badonsky joins the fight, and that is halftime, as we are sitting 3-0 in favor of the Grime.
And once again, to finish my point that I was trying to make, is the focus fire as well is sometimes not there. We saw the late Uber pop from Kig there, but it took so long to focus down Shrugger, and instead of them focusing the target and killing it, they just had High Five split up and eventually just pretty much soared down Shrugger. but it's like a waste of an Uber because they're just splitting it, but they're not focusing kills together. And like Kig had the much better Uber, but they didn't get anything out of it because they didn't focus a target. And I would really like, and I saw it earlier as well on mid when High Five managed to clutch a kill on 4-4, but Farnsworth was right there, and even though he was hurt, he should have just committed with the medic and focus fired instead of fighting a soldier then jumping away. I want to see the Grime clean up their Ubers, and I think a lot of that can be better if they focus targets a lot stronger, which I just haven't seen.
I agree, and focusing targets, that comes with time. It starts to flow once your team has the synergy to meld together and realize which player is focusing which target when. But we are entering the half here. We did have Badonsky going huge in the last half with 356 damage done a minute.
And
so
we're also on the next mid, BloodSire.
Yeah, no, yeah. So we are in here in half number 2 here, and the frags are falling. Wanted to see what Badonsky's going to do, and it looks like he's doing just enough because everybody on the Grime is dead. Badonsky stays alive, Rando alive, 404, the most important part of Ascent, remains alive as well. And look at this with Rando, he is sneaking up into the red second, who, by the way, Rando is running that direct hit.
Yeah, he is. And, you know, I'm feeling it's a little bit of some BM from Rando. Once he feels like he's gained a significant lead, he likes to, he's a goof bird. He's a little bit of a goof bird, likes to run the direct hit. Though, granted, I will say he's really good with it. It's pretty impressive how good he is with the DH, actually. But, I'm feeling this is coming from maybe a slight lack of respect from Rando. And Corsa is sniping, trying to find an angle. There's no other off classes from the Grime, and he gets Rando actually, so Rando is punished for his BM, but then Corsa is picked off, so you know, a decent trade. And they're going to be popping here from this lower left side, focusing High Five. High Five is probably dead. He goes down to Mela. Their Uber is about to end. They have dropped Farns too, and Kid goes down. I think it's going to be another last cap here for Ascent.
Yeah, Ascent just wiping everybody. Rando went down, but it didn't matter because the pick is very negligible when you're trying to defend. The pick basically favors the attacking team, who it doesn't matter if they lose players because they can just try again or try again on a different point, but not if you're back on your last point, not if you're defending. So we are at 4-0 in favor of Ascent here, but looks like both of our predictions might have been a little bit too generous to the Grime, who are still trying to figure it out. But here we are on mid number 5. Can they do it this time? We'll have to see. A lot of red aggression over in the ramp room already, but Ascent Rando with that direct hit is going to take down Dagger. Now Mela is going to jump the red box, going to bully out a scout here. A Shrug is going to join, try to help the party. Does take down Farnsworth. 2 down for the Grime now, as red members still trying to get damage in on the Ascent team, who are just playing too strong. Oh no, King is actually going to stay alive. Of course, it takes down Yams, but just like that, Badonsky is going to come in with the sticky, take him down. Ascent win another middle.
Mela trying to just Dingo, and Dingo, you know, he's doing some decent damage, but he spent a lot of that mid jumping around with the booties. I mean, because you can do that because you get a lot of extra mobility from sticky jumps and you get that extra health and that speed. But he didn't really, you know, just a disjointed mid, in my opinion, from Grime. They really need a more cohesive plan because I feel like they're just losing a DM battle where they're getting caught in these fights and Ascent just has no respect for it and is just steamrolling over them. I would also like, on all of these last holds, they're actually running a double sniper here, BloodSire, which could be effective. It could be effective. And Badonsky is peeking very fast. I would like to see one of their 2 snipers shoot at Badonsky, but that did not happen. They will pick up Sugar, though, and Yomps. So it looks like this could be a Grime hold. Oh, but Dagger gets air shot.
Yeah, you want to see the Grime now not lose any more players, because once you pick 2, that is your opportunity as a defending team to peek in, gain some intel, get some frags like that. Dingo takes down Randall, and now you can re-push. They have to make sure they keep track of that right side, though, because spawning members will feed in over there. It looks like Mela has not been spotted out. Yes, and he's going to sneak his way down through drop down. If he doesn't hurry up, he's going to get caught out. As it looks like, yeah, we do see the red aggressing team is going to find him, but he's going to join his team and be just fine. Uber is in favor of the Grime, so they really need to have something happening here. And this could be the momentum for them if they win in this middle fight. Check out Yams hiding in the respawn. Oh no, he's got sight on the medic. Put some stickies into him, but his scout's going to join the party. The red Uber is going to go for the Grime. And they're going to be able to bully out Ascent with that, but no cap time on middle as of yet is going to allow Rando and Shrugger to get that forward spawn. Possibly Yomps, who's on 3 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, they cleaned up some good frags with that, but, you know, Kig had to pop in the end, and Dingo's actually fighting Choke very aggressively, gets some really good damage out. And they're just sort of pressuring him out there. But Ascent's going to be repushing through Garage. They have full Uber advantage. I would like Grime to not lose half their team for this push. I would, if they do, at least force. 4-4 is so hurt. He has 18 HP, and they're going to lose Farnsworth and High Five, and they don't get the force, which is unfortunate at best. Unfortunate at best, BloodSire, because that was not what they needed.
They lost too many, and I mean, looking at the spawn times, 2 seconds, with the Cavs very close, 1 second. Okay, they are going to get the forward spawners, and I did not like the push from the Grime when they pushed into the yard for Ascent. They should have just denied respawns, and that would have been a completely different battle. It would have been Ascent pushing out of their second with Uber into yard, as opposed to pushing out a yard into middle. You can make them pop a lot easier when they're trying to get yard instead of getting middle, but instead we do see Ubers are going to tick up to be even, and Ascent trying to get in yet again. High Five does go down, and now we have Yamps is going to get in on the medics, forcing Kig to pop. Both Ubers are going to go off here, so both teams now going to scatter, look for frags off of the Uber, but neither yet able to do that. So far, the Grime doing a nice job of holding in, but Melee's going to find himself a soldier. Dagger goes down over by Lunchbox. Corsa now outside is going to get taken down from Shrugger, and slowly we do see the Grime bleeding members as they try in yard here to get some frags. Kig, oh my goodness,
Kig gets the arrow kill on
enemy medic
right there, yeah. And they've actually traded pretty even. Farnsworth is cleaning up frags here. Yomps is going to clean him up. But as long as Dingo and Kig play together, Yomps is hurt. He can't really push them. A scrappy fight again. But Grime came out on top. They hit a lot of good shots. Kig luckily got that nice arrow when they were pressured out through Z there. But really, what I would say is characteristic of this is just very scrappy. And Yomps is actually getting cleaned up by Corsa there. So I would like to see, it's really, the impetus is on the Grime BloodSire to try to push this with that pick, because they also have Uber advantage.
And they have to. I mean, they're down 4 rounds. They have to have it happening now. I don't think time's a factor as of yet, because the first few rounds were so quick, but the Grime they don't have anything working for them. We do see Corsa go down, and now High Five is getting caught fighting a soldier. He's gonna have to fight everyone as a scout, and another soldier join the party. He's staying alive. How is he staying alive on this right side? Dancing around. Finally gets taken down from Shrugger, who is on his way to second, I believe. Yeah, we are gonna have a back out from the Shrugger, ×2. No one there to contest him, as the teams are scrambling to get in there. Corsa now is gonna spawn up, see if he can win this 1v1. Not gonna happen though. Shrugger does get the cap, is going to pay for it with his life, but that is just fine as Ascent have the forward respawn. Looks like they're going to get another frag. Nope, he escapes, does Corsa. So Ascent can regroup, so can the Grime a little bit, and not too big of an advantage for 404.
Yeah, not too big. But, you know, once again, just looking at that push, they had several people fighting fights away from the combo, and if they just rotated and fought them together, they might have worked out a little bit easier, where they might have been able to force. But they're just not playing cohesively, in my opinion. Ascent's coming in through this left side. They have Uber advantage. Grime's holding pretty far back. It looks like they're going to be pushing this right side lunchbox area. Coming up top, High Five's going to get absolutely mulched. Rando is very hurt, though. Corsa is fighting. Corsa's very hurt. He's going to get cleaned up, too. And now Dingo's backing out. Dagger is still up top. He thought he was being sneaky, but that was not sneaky at all. He was just hiding in plain sight, so he dies. They're going to be a force from 4-4 pretty early. They're going to focus some targets, BloodSire, and I think this could be it. Yeah, not a whole lot of members from the Grind here to defend, and it looks like Kig, he caught out or didn't meet up with the player too quickly after respawn, which effectively gave Ascent a much bigger Uber advantage than I thought they were going to have. They were at about 18% when Kig did spawn. Unfortunately, he didn't meet up with anybody, which means he had a huge disadvantage, about 40% in the end there. Enough for Ascent to push in, feeling good and strong about themselves. They get in, and they get out with a clean 5-0 over the Grime here on Greenery. Not that close, Avast. Nope, not close at all. I think we were, we predicted for the Ascent win for sure, but we had hoped, we had tried to hope for, like, a little bit more, try to get that blowout, not necessarily a blowout game, but a competitive game. But it looks like the obstacles facing the Grime just were too much, and they sort of got a little bit steamrolled. Got a little bit steamrolled there. They're firm and pressed.
That's a symptom of Greenery. You do get steamrolled when you lose middle so badly, and it can be a lost cause. It can feel like banging your head against a wall when you finally get those advantages, but the other team, they just scatter, and you have a wasted Uber all of a sudden. We have some highlights. We see Farnsworth in the stats putting out a whole lot of damage. In fact, server leading. a total of 6,712. 339 a minute, so the strongest from him there. But then high five only with 3,826. So they have some work to do. Like we mentioned, they are a newer team, and of course, Ascent now advanced to 9-1 on the season, are the returning invite champs. But not too much working for them tonight. A little bit symptomatic of what Granary can do when you have a mismatch of team skill. But yeah, not that close in the end of best.
Yeah, I agree. And looking at the stats, it's actually not the worst. I've seen worse stats often. It's actually pretty tolerable stats. I mean, partially it probably could do because of the length of the match. So those stats with that damage per minute stat sort of gets inflated the shorter the game is. But I really think the crux of the problem was just poor mid fights and poor Uber management. And something that I never saw that's really effective on Granary last is I didn't see any sort of off class besides the sniper. The one time when they had 2 snipers. And I think the biggest stat to be seen was Kick had 2 frags, and which is half the frags of Dagger and Dingo, which both had 4. So pretty crazy. And I think Farns did have really good damage, but from what I noticed, I felt like it was worthless damage a lot of the times. It could have been directed to a lot more. I like to use the term game impact type of stats instead of nice looking stats. BloodSire.
Yeah, we saw him come in a lot on his own or stay in the fight afterwards or get caught out of fights where he was doing damage, but not necessarily game impacting damage, as you mentioned. And of course, you do want to see Dingo with having a little bit more of an impact on the game. Not just stat-wise, but in terms of, you do want to see him up in damage. That can really help the scouts in team fights, help the team in general. So maybe switching back from Medic to Demoman is still sort of a work in progress. But, against a team like Ascent, on a map like Granary, it can often feel very, very tough, very rough. You don't really have the room to spread your wings and fly because it's just so hard when the other team is rolling you so much. It wasn't the worst match we've seen on Granary. It was a 5-0, but certainly not the worst. Like you mentioned, stats, not that bad.
Yeah, and I think we still saw solid performances from particularly the scouts of the Grime, which are both players that I think, especially Corsa, who, was recently on Froyotech, both very, very good scouts. Up-and-coming scouts that have I think in my opinion will have an impact on the game if they continue to play type of thing. And Farns as well had a great game. Not like I said earlier, maybe not stats that reflect his game impact in my opinion, but still a very solid player. And Dingo Dagger, not great stats, but I think it's tough to analyze demo stats a lot of time, especially in roles, because of how the class is oriented now in the meta. So, but I'm looking forward to, in the future, possibly seeing the Grime hopefully continue to improve. Maybe work on some of the problems we saw today. Maybe see them against teams that aren't, the top 2 or 3 teams like Froyotech or Ascent, things like that. See how they compare to maybe towards like the 4th place, or the ones that are competing for that playoff spot. As that upper mid invite team.
Oh, and they only have a few more weeks to do it because this is week 6. Of course, you mentioned the future. Tomorrow we will be bringing you yet another Ascent match, this time versus Bird Noises. And also the Bugs will face off against Running with Scissors. You can find all that information on teamfortress.tv. Of course, you guys know, you head there. We have the community news, the upcoming events, the forums, and where all the hot TF2 topics are being discussed, especially, namely, the matchmaking, which is being slowly put into the game, Team Fortress 2. So somewhere in the future of Avast, we will be playing the dream of having matchmaking in Team Fortress 2. We will be like Counter-Strike.
Yes, we will. It's gonna be fun. Did you play any of the public stress tests that happened the other night?
Well, I did. I have the beta. I was in the first ever Team
so
Fortress
still
2.
Have the pass.
I still have the pass because I know some people.
Oh, you know some people, huh?
Yeah.
Where's my people that know me?
Well, I know you.
You do know me, so I expect some progress on the beta front for me, BloodSire.
Well, we'll see what we can do. Yeah, I did play in the stress test. If you guys missed it, Valve will be doing more, and I'm sure they will announce them when they do them. So keep an eye on that. It was fun. It was interesting because there's no. It's all unexplored territory. There's no limitation on weapons, no limitation on classes. So the meta is very shifting, and it's only the 2. So it's in beta, Avast, and it's sort of preparing for the future, but a lot of exciting things to look forward to. Not just the TFTV casts or the information on Team Fortress TV, but all of the future awesomeness that will be in Team Fortress 2 eventually.
And I think another thing that we need to mention for the Bugs versus Scissors game is that they had recently had a roster change with Cole replacing Bopper on Medic, since Bopper had to step down for other time commitments. So I think that game, while the season might be kind of unsalvageable for Bugs at this point, I still think it will be a fun game to watch, because I think it's a map that can really play to the Bugs' strengths, because I think their strengths a lot of times sit at their soldiers and demo. So I think it'll be a fun game to watch, and with Cole sitting on the medic spot, I think it'll just be fun to see how he plays, because he hasn't played in a long time, and I don't think I've ever seen him play medic, especially not at invite level. So, but anyways, yeah, I think it's looking forward to some good games and matchmaking as well, BloodSire.
Yeah, and for that match and for more information, like we mentioned before, head over to teamfortress.tv. We will be bringing that match to you live in almost 24 hours, set to go at 10:30 Eastern tomorrow. So that will be with, I believe, Slin and Blank on the cast, with Mathsan on camera. So will be a pleasure to listen to those two. Hope you guys thought it was a pleasure listening to us two. Of course, thank you to Marblr on camera. Always does such a great job. But for everybody at Team Fortress TV, to our viewers, want to say thank you, and we will see you guys next time.
Peace.